In today's lesson, we're going to analyze the Cueball physics and position play of 4 very interesting 9-ball situations. Knowing how the Cueball reacts with different English is very important, but at the same time it's also necessary to be able to see different paths that will bring the Cueball in a nice position for the next shot. Today you will see 4 certain situations on the table. Each situation offers different possible solutions. We will analyze all of them, and at the end of every situation I will show you an interesting path where the English and the self-correcting angles will do most of the job for us. So let's start. This is our first situation. We have a fin cut on the 8-ball and need to get position for the 9 that is at its typical spot. What we can do here is to just play it with a little bit of high, so we aren't manipulating the Cueball a lot and are using its natural path. The advantage here is that it's very easy to execute. The disadvantage is that our speed control has to be very precise because we are crossing the line of the 9-ball. So let's see if we can do something differently. What do you think will happen if we play the same shot but this time with inside English? Pause the video here and think about it. The inside English will shallow the angle on the first rail and therefore the Cueball will now travel the path that you're seeing here. The advantage is that we're almost going perfectly towards the line of the 9-ball. This also means our speed control does not have to be that precise. The disadvantage is that shots with inside English are the hardest ones to execute and we could easily miss the shot. We could also do something similar to our first shot. We're now hitting low on the Cueball and adding a touch of outside English, which also makes the cut easier for us. The Cueball will now go this path and hit the third rail. The advantage here is that we're almost going towards the line of the 9-ball. The disadvantage is that we have to play it softly, but at the same time we still want the draw to be present when the Cueball arrives at the object ball, so we have to play a drag shot here. Do you see another path? Pause the video and think about it. If you didn't see it, I will give you a small hint. With the last path, the Cueball will end somewhere around this area and we will use 5 rails. Here's the solution. To execute this shot, we again play it with low left, but this time we're not trying to hold the shot, but play it with authority. The Cueball will have check side on the last 2 rails. That means that the English will shallow the angle and slow the Cueball speed down. This check side ensures that the Cueball will very often just stop in time. Look at this short clip for example, where I played the same shot on a different table. All I have to do is to hit it really firm and the Cueball will every time stop almost perfectly. I know it looks a little bit crazy at first, but for me it's very reliable. Just give it a try. Did you spot this path by the way? Let me know in the comments. In this situation we're left on the 6-ball. There are 4 balls remaining on the table and we have to get position for the 7-ball. The most obvious way here is to play for the short side, in this case with outside English, so that we go 1 or 2 rails. The advantage here is that it's very easy to execute. The disadvantage here is that we will be on the short side and there is also the risk that we are ending straight. When playing this shot with inside English, it's basically the same. The only advantage is that the putt gets a little bit easier. I wouldn't recommend the next path, but it's still a possibility, so I'm showing it to you. We are playing this shot with a lot of draw and maybe, just maybe a tiny bit of outside English, but not much. The advantage is, well, I don't know what the advantage here is. The shot is hard to execute because we need a lot of power, we are risking to hit the 8-ball, we are risking to scratch into the side pocket. So, as I already said, I would never play the shot this way in a match. There's just too much that could go wrong. I also wouldn't recommend this path because it's even harder to execute. We are hitting with inside English and also are playing the shot rail first. Did you notice in which angle the Cueball bounces out of the second rail? That's actually very interesting and maybe not every one of you knows why. So let's talk about that. So we're using inside spin. The cue ball bounces off the rail, hits the object ball, and that's why it travels towards the opposite long rail. And because the cue ball hits the long rail and not the short rail, we again have check side on the cue ball and not running side. You could use this method, for example, if you have this situation and want to go up table. Hit the cue ball with inside English and rail first. The English will bring the cue ball up table again from the second rail. And that's also the reason why in this situation we added just a tiny bit or even no English at all to the cue ball, because a lot of right hand English will bring the cue ball more towards this direction from the second rail. Do you see another path? Pause the video and think about it. If you didn't see it, I will give you a small hint. With the last path, the cue ball will end somewhere around this area and we will use 5 rails. Here's the solution. We play this shot with maximum inside English. We have to make sure that we are not hitting rail first this time and we are hitting it very hard. The cue ball will then go all around the table. The advantage of this shot is that we are on the side that makes the 7 ball a lot easier. We will also very often have the right angle on the 7 ball. The disadvantage is that the shot is harder to execute. Just set the situation up the next time when you're at the pool hall and try it yourself. I personally like this shot a lot. Now let's have a look how I run the last remaining balls. We have the perfect angle on the 7 ball to just stun over for the 8 ball. And on the 8 ball we also have the perfect angle to either play it soft for the 9 into the corner pocket or a little harder for the 9 into the side. I prefer to hit it with a confident stroke and don't like to try to hold the cue ball if it's not necessary. In the next situation we have a thin cut into the side pocket and are well on the wrong side of the ball, which helps. In the first situation we are playing the most natural shot where we only add a little bit of outside English. You probably had a similar shot a couple of times, but you hit the cue ball too hard and ended up like this. That's because we are crossing the line of the 9 ball again, so the shot is very easy to execute, but our speed control has to be really precise. So we're adding draw on the cue ball and play the same shot again. This time we stay on the other side of the 9 ball and are almost going towards the line. This shot is still easy to execute and also has the advantage that speed control is getting easier. This shot would be my personal choice in this situation. But again, there is also another path that again is using 5 rails. Pause the video and try to find the path again. We're playing the same English as on our first shot, but just harder. The cue ball takes the same path, but again hits the last 2 rails with jack side and ends up in the perfect position for the 9. Usually this kind of shot is very reliable, but not my personal choice this time, because the shot is getting a little bit tougher, we're risking the scratch into the corner pocket, and we also came very close to hitting the 9 ball by accident. But again, set this shot up the next time when you're at the pool hall and try all the different paths. In our last situation, we are left with a thin cut on the 7 ball and would love to get a straight in shot on the 8 ball to make position for the 9 very easy. The path that we're using here is probably the most reliable. We're just hitting a little bit above center and play the shot softly. The advantage is that it's very easy to execute. There is no need for English on the cue ball. The disadvantage is that we are risking a skid or kick and that rolling balls in is very often tough for players. And we are a little further away from the 8 ball, which makes it a little tougher, but still that should be your choice. The next path should definitely not be your choice because it's a very delicate shot. I'm playing low left and also a drag shot. The drag removes a little bit of the cue ball speed and the left hand English also removes the speed on the first rail and at the same time brings me closer to the 8 ball. The advantage is that we can be left with a very easy shot on the 8 ball. But if someone is able to execute this shot, It also should be no problem if we play our previous shot and are left with a little longer 8 ball. However, I'm really interested how you guys play the shot. Give it a try next time you're at the pool hall and let me know in the comments how it went. The last shot this time isn't a 5 railer, but a 4 railer. We are playing this shot low right. I personally like this shot a lot because I don't have to slow roll the ball, can hit it with authority and therefore don't have to rely on the table that much. It also ensures the right angle on the 8 ball. Here I ended up straight, but the angle where we can go into the long rail and out is also perfect. But it's a little tougher to execute than the first shot in my opinion. Okay, those were 4 situations with a lot of different options. As you see, there is no right or wrong way in pool. There are better ways, there are tougher ways, but in the end, you decide what shot the right shot is. No matter which shot you're choosing, you should stand behind your decision and always play it with confidence. Only if you're convinced of your shot selection, you can execute it in your personal best possible way. Okay, now let's pick a random comment from one of my last videos again that I will react to. Thanks for your comment, Yaroslav, and Happy New Year too. Well, yeah, I really love what I'm doing. That's why I'm even uploading at the holidays, because my channel, what I'm doing here on YouTube is basically my baby. Yeah, just love making videos, I love playing pool, I love producing videos. For me it's almost like Christmas if I upload a new video and to see what you guys are writing in the comments, if I get likes, how many views I get. Yeah, I just put so much energy in those videos, so many hours, so I'm always so happy when I finally can publish a video on my channel and then see your reactions and what you think about. Yeah, it's just amazing. I just love what I'm doing. Unfortunately, I can't do it full time. I would love to upload a whole lot more videos, but it's just not possible because it's really time consuming. For example, this video took me about 20 to 25 hours, and yeah, there are also videos that took 40 hours already, for example the Cueball physics video. So yeah, I'm really dedicated to my channel, I'm really dedicated to playing pool, to helping you guys to upload new videos as often as I can, and yeah, that's why I even uploaded at the holidays. Okay, thanks for your comment again, and thanks for watching guys, thanks to my sponsors and patrons, and as always, see you at the next lesson. Take care.